3 keys to top formations, when to take profits, and when to go short in cryptocurrencies. In this video, we'll compare these 4 different markets, checking out for top formations. And this would be similar for all the different coins that are traded right now. I think they're all coming up to these kind of top formations. So here we have Bitcoin prices. Let's go and take a look at Bitcoin. We can see higher highs here, but lower highs in the RSI and lower on balance volume. So this tells me that it still hasn't gained strength yet to be a turnaround from where the price is now, which if it's not turning around, it's going the other direction. And so I am anticipating it coming down to $3,400 range, thereabouts. Not too deep, but it would be significant enough to give us a better build of this entire bottom formation here. So if we came down and brought it down to these levels and then started to show some strength, this would be very good for the overall market turnaround and that big bowl-shaped formation, which would drive us up to the $5,400 range from down here. And that's when I'm expecting the even larger crack to the bottom side. And I'm anticipating it going down to under $3,000, maybe $2,500 from the range up here when it gets there. And so I'll be watching for this same top formation pattern again when it gets up there, but with much more serious view. So with that in mind, let's take a look at these again so that we are comparing all 4 of these charts quickly. We can see that Bitcoin here had an uptrend that had already broke this trend line really significantly and came down. We had the descending parallel channel, and it bounced up out of that. At the same time as that descending parallel channel, we also had descending wedge patterns on all of these other coins, so that we could see that coming right to a point, right to a point, right to a point for all of them. And at the same time that this bounced higher, they all bounced out of those descending wedge patterns. And now they're coming down and around where Stellar is below its trend line, Litecoin is below its trend line, and Ethereum just bounced off and gave a little bit of strength before it's threatening that trend line again. So all of these things are starting to look like top formation to me. And there are 4 things that I'm looking at in each one of these charts now. We'll go over and we'll take a look at Ethereum, and we're going to look on Poloniex down to Ethereum. And we're looking at the 12-hour. I want to go to the 30-minute bars. So now we're at the same time frame as in our example chart here. So we can see the descending wedge pattern and the bounce up out of that, and this important trend line. Let's zoom over here, and we can see the trend line is a little bit of a different picture here, where the descending wedge triangle was to here. So this is the descending wedge triangle that we had. And then I can call this trend line here all the way along, and it goes all the way back. So those are our trend lines. We have this bounce, but it's also turning into a 1, 2, 3 top formation. At the same time, we have decreasing volume in general. We can see that volume pattern here. We can see that the RSI is decreasing, but so is the price, so it's not much of a divergence. And we're seeing a pretty good weakness in the on-balance volume of buying power. So this is all for this time frame. And now I want to zoom in. This is the 30-minute view. It's pretty zoomed in. Usually want to zoom out to start to see bigger picture things. So at any rate, for the very short term, it does seem like this may be retracing back down, and I would call it just out of right now that it is coming down to this yellow line, which is just fits in with support and resistance and the Fibonacci's and everything like that. So the 3 things that we're looking at now are the 1, 2, 3 top formation, the trend line break that we're right up against now, market pattern verification. That is, other markets are doing the very same thing at the very same time. And so by watching them all together, you can get a verification that this is actually a good top formation and a good place to either take profits or to consider going short. So then the other couple things that we're looking for is the RSI divergence and the on-balance volume divergence to be occurring at the same time as this formation. So let's go back to our group of 4 just to get a picture in our mind again. And now let's go over to Stellar and see where this price chart is with all of those criteria. So we're looking at the top. We're seeing the RSI divergence right at that top. We're seeing a change in on-balance volume from before this and all the way along afterwards. It's showed a little bit of positive, but it's been negative overall. So when I zoom in on this, I am not seeing any positive divergence in the RSI at the early term. I'm not seeing this switching around yet. I'm not seeing this switch around yet. So it's not feeling like it's going to be bouncing off these levels and going higher from here. But it is feeling like it's still got some weakness to test down a little bit. This has been really contracted in its bottom formation here, and I don't think it has room to go very deep. Maybe down to the 30 or 3,000 Satoshi level, but probably not. Probably to the 330. It's just compressed so much so far, and we'll see how that turns out. So I think this one's got downside, but the least potential relative to everything else. It'll be a smaller downside slide. So let's go back to our view of 4. We looked at this one. We've looked at Ethereum, which had the largest percentage change compared to the 4 just over the last recent while. This one's gone up the most, so I expect it to retrace the most deeply. Now let's go and take a look at Litecoin, and we'll do the Poloniex chart again. So here's the 1, 2, 3 top formation. We're seeing 3 hits off this bottom, which is in important support and resistance all the way along. When we zoom in, then we're seeing the drop in the RSI. We're seeing the on-balance volume slipping off, and I don't see that recovery happening in the very shortest term. So if I zoom into the 3-day view and I'm trying to look for RSI and on-balance volume changing, it's not standing out to me yet right now. And so I see this top formation. I see the space that's got to go, the divergences going on there. It also could pull back to the 75.5 region in a sharp pullback while Bitcoin pulls itself back. You can see it, the blue in the background, down to these levels. Everything would all pull like an accordion down to those levels, and we'll be watching for much the same thing, where we'll look for market pattern confirmation, where all of them have come down to that retracement level and they're making a consolidation and a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. We'll be looking for the RSI diverge the other way, the on-balance volume to start to show that money is pouring into the market, and we'll chalk out another trend line to see when that breaks across all of them at the same time. And we'll be watching for all that to happen as the markets unfold. But I hope this review of the top formation and when to be considering taking profits, even just to reduce part of your position, stand back and watch and wait for when to put that position back on. These kind of top formations, we don't know how long they're going to be. We don't know how deep they'll go, and if this is going to be a sideways market for the next 6 months or so. And we want to wring out every different percentages that we can. And I want to finish by saying that this can be used for hedging. Hedging is to hedge your bets, where you're betting a whole bunch this way and a little bit that way to balance it out just in case you're wrong on your big bet. And so overall, our big bet is that the altcoins are going to be going up and we're socking them away. We've got a good diversified portfolio of altcoins, and every time it makes a top formation like this, you don't want to go and sell out all of your altcoins. What a pain in the butt that is. And you've got all of the trading fees plus all the tax tracking to do if you are jumping in and out of many dozen different cryptocurrencies. It is time consuming and a real pain in the butt to do it. So instead of selling all of your alts at these tops like this, one strategy is to do a hedge, where you would go over to BitMEX and you would use a percentage of your account opposite to your main hold. So all of us, our main hold is long, right? We're buying these things low, we want to sell high. To hedge that, we would take on, say I got $20,000 worth of cryptocurrencies. I could have $2,000 worth of Bitcoin over at BitMEX, and I could do a 5 times leverage short. So $2,000 times 5 is worth $10,000. That would be like half of my entire portfolio sold out into Bitcoin. Basically, this is what I'm doing by taking a 5 times leverage short with $2,000. And I would do it on a combination of Ethereum, Litecoin, Stellar, maybe not Stellar. We would have to look at what's available for shorting on BitMEX. Look at the markets that are fitting and take an average of a short position in all of them. So $500 in 4 different markets that are related that look like they're all going to be going down. So ADA would be another one, or TRX would be another one. And we could short them all at 5 times leverage with a 1/4 of our money in each market. And then the average of how much they went down would be a profit. And it would offset how much I lost in my cryptos going down that much. Because all the markets are matched, they all go together. You can really hedge well by taking on opposite positions to your main portfolio in a percentage basis, just so that you're trading within the size of your trading account, and you're not doing a high leverage speculative trade for short-term profits. You're doing a hedge against the rest of your portfolio. And so the mathematics of how much is your portfolio worth, how much is this hedge costing you, versus how much would it have cost you to go and sell out of those positions and buy back into them in trading fees. And it can be very cost effective to do the hedge instead of the time spent and the fees cost of changing your overall altcoin portfolio. And so there you have it, the 3 keys to top formations: when to take profits and when to go short in your cryptocurrency trading. We're going to look for those 1, 2, 3 top formations with a trend line break. We're going to look for market pattern verification at the same time as an RSI divergence and on-balance volume divergence. And that's it for this video. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate your audience, and your comments and questions below will be helpful in explaining more about these top formations and when to take profits in cryptocurrencies.